30 years would make such an evening rather difficult, even with the soothing of pre-prandial potions.
Pre-game, that one up. Pre-game.
My second fear was that the assembled gentlemen of the class of 1977 would ask me to stand up and give a little speech.
Right again.
Sorry, man. Love it. What are you talking about?
Thanks to some recent physical therapy and the anodyne of sufficient alcohol, the first fear has proved groundless. By the way, do you know Ogden Nash's wonderful little poem about martinis?
No.
May I say it to you?
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's something about a martini, a tingle remarkably pleasant, a mellow martini. I wish I had one at present. There's something about a martini ere the dining and dancing begin. And to tell you the truth, it's not the vermouth. I think that perhaps it's the gin. My second fear, however, as my reading of this paper attests, has come true. Here I am, standing before the men who remember me as their English teacher and who expect me to adorn the occasion by saying something appropriate, eloquent, and even memorable. Even though whatever chronological gap once gave me an advantage over you, that the power to assign tests and essays and tell you what I thought of your intellectual efforts were worth, even though that gap has seemingly narrowed, you are all still too young, and you are in the youth of old age, probably to remember Tom Lehrer. A professor of mathematics at Harvard, who discovered he could improve significantly on a teacher's salary by playing the piano and singing little songs he had invented about life's not so little absurdities. One of those songs was called Be Prepared.
The Boy Scouts selling cream?
That's it.
Boy Scouts, exactly.
Let's hear it.
Thanks to the internet, I have found the text.
Oh no.
In these days of political correctness and safe spaces, I'm not sure I dare read or, try to sing all of it. Especially if it takes company. I'm seeing too many ladies.
Just remember, it's a co-ed group. Go ahead.
That's right.
It's okay.
Google it in the privacy of your study at home.
You can sing it, Tom. You can sing it.
And then I won't have to get myself in any trouble. Do you remember how it begins? That's the Boy Scouts marching song. Be prepared.
As
As
in
you
life you go.
march along, be prepared to hold your liquor pretty well. Don't write dirty words on walls that you can't spell.
Be prepared.
You better stop.
That's the voice. Oh, yeah, it goes on. It's a great song. Sorry.
The ladies are going to rear up. Do I dare the last stanza?
Yes,
Yes, you do.
Ladies, if you're looking for adventure of a new and different kind, and you come across a Girl Scout who is similarly inclined, don't be nervous, don't be flustered, don't be scared, be prepared. See, I've taken that song to heart. I was afraid you might ask me to say a few words. Always a dangerous gambit when asking an English teacher. And so I decided to write something down. After all these years, my friends, frankly, I still don't have the guts to stand up in front of a group like this and trust the muse of good fellowship and fond memory to descend and help me make sense of a special gathering like this. Haverford men who comprised half of the first classes in my first year that I taught in this remarkable school. Haverford men who made my first year here wonderfully challenging and fulfilling because they challenged me to engage and challenge them. Haverford men who, by making my every day in the classroom a positive joy, helped me gradually come to understand that I could find no finer life as a teacher than at a school which makes great demands on everyone who is part of it. Because it understands that only by fulfilling such demands, academic demands, athletic demands, artistic demands, can one perhaps begin to find a way to live a fulfilling life. And you, the men of the class of 1977, often a restless, riotous, exasperating collection of wonder-bearing adolescent talent and turbulence. You men gave me my start. Let me tell you a quick story. I was asked by Bob Jameson to have dinner one night on Parents' Night. Came across the hall, my classroom was across the way from Bob's, and he said, "Well, Hallowell, Parents' Night, you got any plans?" And I said, no, Bob, it's Parents' Night, I've got to come talk to parents. "Well, what about dinner? You got any plans for dinner?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, there's a nice restaurant in Gladwin called the Guardhouse Inn, near where you live. Let's go there and have a meal, and then we can come back to the school, talk to the parents." There's something about a martini. Yeah. We went to the guardhouse, and Bob Jameson ordered us a round of martinis. And then we looked at the menu, and then Bob ordered us another round. And we had dinner, and maybe even another round. But in the course of that dinner, Bob said to me, "Well, Hallowell, come on, you've been here for a while now, what are your plans?" And I said, "Bob, I came to the school because my back problem was terrible. And I told myself as soon as I got well, I was going to go back to Cambridge and finish my PhD. But I'm kind of falling in love with this place a little bit, and I don't know what to do." And Jameson said, "Well, here's my advice. Give it one more year. The third year is the year to make a decision, not the second year. Give it one more year, and then you'll know for sure." We went back to school that evening. I was telling some of your classmates earlier, I walked up and down in the basement of Wilson Hall trying to get my lips and tongue and But it turned out to be wonderful advice, because in the next year, the third year that Bob Jameson had recommended, I was offered the chairmanship of the English department at Haverford. And I couldn't resist that temptation and challenge, the thought that I could have the opportunity to create the curriculum and the intellectual life in English for these men that I'd known at the school was just too great to pass up.
What a great job
Oh,
you've
boy.
done.
That was the fall of 1976. And here we are, more than 40 years later, together at Haverford, remembering a time and a place which gave you your start. And so I thank you again for allowing me to share this special evening with you. As I thought of being here with you tonight, I found myself recalling some wise observations by Robert Louis Stevenson. You know, most people think of Robert Louis Stevenson as a novelist, but he's really a remarkable essayist. Listen to what he says in an essay called Crabbed Age and Youth. Am I going on too long?
No.
It is customary to say that age should be considered because it comes last. It seems just as much to the point that youth comes first. And the scale fairly kicks the beam if you go on to add that age, in a majority of cases, never comes at all. Disease and accident make short work of even the most prosperous persons. Death costs nothing, and the expense of a headstone is an inconsolable trifle to the happy heir. To be suddenly snuffed out in the middle of ambitious schemes is tragical enough at best. But when a man has been begrudging himself his own life in the meanwhile, and saving up everything for the festival that was never to be, it becomes that hysterically moving sort of tragedy which lies on the confines of farce. The victim is dead, and he has cunningly overreached himself. A combination of calamities, nonetheless absurd for being grim. To husband a favorite claret until the batch turns sour is not at all an artful stroke of policy. And how much more with a whole cellar, a whole bodily existence. We should not compliment a hungry man who should refuse a whole dinner and reserve all his appetite for the dessert before he knew whether there was to be any dessert or not. If there be such a thing as imprudence in the world, we surely have it here. We sail in leaky bottoms, on great and perilous waters, and to take a cue from the dolorous old naval ballad, we have heard the mermaids singing, and know we shall never see dry land anymore. Old and young, we are all of us on our last cruise. If there is a fill of tobacco among the crew, for God's sake, pass it round. Let us have a pipe together before we go. Well, that's what we're doing here tonight together, isn't it? Sharing a pipe together before we go. This celebration is indeed special. Special for you because it offers the chance to rejoice in the shared memories and the rare fellowship of these 40 years. Special for me because it gives me the opportunity to thank both you and Haverford for the chance to be part of that history, part of that fellowship. Thank you, gentlemen of the class of 1977. Let let me take leave of Stevenson's nautical metaphor and replace it with one of my own. As I begin what I hope will be a slow exit, stage right or stage left, with what I can only hope will be a mercifully slow final curtain. Know that I shall be thinking of you and wishing for you many happy scenes and many happy acts to come.